So today I'm in Union City, Michigan, touring the historic Hammond House, which is a museum that is run by the Union City Society for Historic Preservation. And I want you to watch all the way to the end of this video because I got something really cool to tell you about at the very end. So let's take a tour of this wonderful place and check out some local history here in Union City, Michigan. The Hammond House Museum, along with the Bell Tower, are located at 210 Charlotte Street in Union City, Michigan. And they are the headquarters of the Union City Society for Historic Preservation. The museum is also home for the archives of the Union City High School Alumni Association and the Genealogy Society. The history of the home, transformed into a stunning museum, is rich and tells a great story of young settlers that traveled to Union City from Smyrna County, New York in 1836. Charles Hammond had the house built in 1837, and it was considered one of Union City's finest homes. Mr. Hammond was one of Union City's most prominent settlers and helped form the village. His daughter, Ellen, was the first school teacher in Union City, and Ellen and Hammond Streets today are named after her in the village. In 1986, a number of individuals from Union City interested in preserving this area's history bought the home and began the tedious task of restoration. With the help of many devoted people and area businessmen, the Greek Revival home was fully restored and is furnished with beautiful antiques. Many of the windows, encased in wide molding, grace the house and add to the delightful 9.5-foot ceilings. An open doorway is at the front entrance, as well as a small servant-style winding stairway that comes out into the old kitchen. Several of the rooms in the house have been dedicated to the very people who helped with restoration and gave their time and donated funds and many of the antiques found inside the museum. In 1997, after many months of volunteers working together, the Bell Tower was dedicated during the Memorial Day holiday. The funds for the tower, which has a paved sidewalk all around it, were made possible from donations from alumni and local merchants. Once the letters were sent to as many alumni as could be located, the money came in quickly, and each letter gave praise to the worthwhile project. It is a tribute to all who helped, both financially and through labor. The tower is an exact replica of the original school tower, and it's located in the area next to the museum where the gardens and lovely benches have been placed. Inside the tower on display is the old school bell from the tower of the 1877 schoolhouse, which was originally located on Elm Street in Union City. When you first walk into the museum, you arrive in the historic foyer, and on the walls you'll see a collection of paintings by James P. Palmer, and you'll see his paintings throughout the house. Mr. Palmer was born in Canandaigua, New York in 1857 and came to Union City with his parents in 1867. He began painting at an early age and studied art and music under H.A. Mills in Albion College. He then went to Chicago in 1884 to study under John Vanderford at the Chicago Art Institute. While in Chicago, he sold a number of his works, and several that he painted after returning to Union City in 1888 were sold and sent to London. While his works consisted primarily of watercolor landscapes of St. Joseph River scenes, he also utilized charcoals and oils on occasion and painted portraits and still life scenes, as well as local landmarks. He was also an accomplished violinist, and Palmer made over 20 violins in his day, including his own, which he crafted from his old kitchen table of seasoned maple wood and played locally in the Union City Orchestra. His home, which was located
along the St. Joseph River at the corner of Park Street and Palmer Drive, which was named in his honor. Since the museum is opened, many of his original portraits have been donated or placed on display inside the museum, and when you tour through this wonderful house, you'll see many of his original depictions of the St. Joseph River as well as other landscapes, and they are just fabulous. Mr. Palmer passed away in 1945, and he's actually buried at Riverside Cemetery in Union City. Also in the foyer, you'll see a roster listing men from Union City who served in World War II, and it's not a complete list. They are the names of the ones that came from the Congregational Church. But probably the most fascinating display piece that I saw in the foyer is the roster from the Libby prison during the Civil War, where Union Army and Navy soldiers and sailors were prisoners of the Confederacy. And this list was donated to the museum, and it's on display. And it is a fascinating artifact to look at, especially for those that really have an interest in the Civil War. Throughout the rest of the museum, there's a parlor which has some historic furniture. There is a dining room area with some more historic furniture and lighting fixtures, as well as a wood-burning stove. There's an office that has a lot of portraits and furniture displayed. There's the old kitchen, which is complete with a standard electric stove and a refinished dining table. There is a reproduction of a country charm stove, and there is a lot of other historic cabinets and portraits on display in this room. Then the new kitchen area has some metal cabinets with artifacts on display, and in one of the cabinets you will see a meteor that has been donated to the museum and is one that fell in the Union City area, and I found that quite fascinating. Upstairs you'll find a children's room as well as the Whitney Room, which was created in May of 2005 and donated by K. Whitney Wetter. It includes a handmade rocking chair, a wooden cradle made of cherry, and a low-post bedstand. There's also a lot of historic clothing on display throughout the upstairs area where you can walk around and see clothing that were worn during the period, especially by the women of the era. There's another bedroom called the Everett Bedroom that was dedicated to Dorothy Everett in April of 1986. And in this room you will find antique cottage Victorian furniture that is dated to 1850, a beautiful historic cradle sitting next to the bed, as well as a lot of other fascinating artifacts, including quilts and clothing on display in this room, along with the portraits of people from that period of time. There's even a section of the upstairs that has some artifacts from the Masonic Lodge that was torn down at one point, and those artifacts date back to the 1900s, and they are on display there that you can take a look at some of those items. So overall, it is a fascinating museum to take a tour of, and you can spend hours just looking at all of the little artifacts and details that are in the nooks and crannies of this space. And it's not possible for me to tell you all of the items that are in this museum. You're just going to have to go there and see them for yourself. But it's located in Union City, and it is a fabulous museum to visit, and is something that you should certainly put on your list of places to come and take a tour of. And at the time of my visit, it was Christmas time, and they had a beautiful Christmas tree display, along with some other great artifacts at the base of the tree inside the parlor area. And it is very festively decorated for the season. And of course, they had some wonderful hot chocolate, as well as a vat of a historic drink called wassail, and a whole table of all kinds of fresh-baked cookies and other delights. And the Union City Society for Historic Preservation is just a wonderful, dedicated group of people, and you will certainly enjoy taking a tour of this museum. So, as I mentioned before, be sure to mark this as a museum that you want to tour when you're in the Union City area. And it, once again, can be found at 210 Charlotte Street in Union City, Michigan. You heard at the beginning of this video that I mentioned I wanted to tell you a little surprise at the end here. The Union City Society for Historic Preservation has a small fundraising campaign going on in December right now.
And on the Facebook group, Saving Graves, Riverside Cemetery, Union City, Michigan, there is this fundraising link that you can follow and make a donation. And I thought it would be really cool because they are such wonderful supporters of preserving local history in their community. That wouldn't it be great if I put it out there on my YouTube channel and just ask everybody to chip in $5-10 and help them meet their goal, and just blow them away with all the love and support for those that preserve history and do such a good job with taking care of their museums. So look for this image here on Saving Graves. Riverside Cemetery Union City Group is the name of the group on Facebook. And make a donation. And if you like today's video, please take a minute to hit the like button down there, share the video with others, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, and then also check out my podcast, Tales of Southwest Michigan's Past. And until next time, thanks for watching.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. So tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.